Welcome to Sissygram Spicy Story channel. If you like my voice, then hit the like button and do subscribe our channel for regular updates. Today I come up with whole new content of story. So, now let's start the story. I never imagined I'd find myself writing something like this. But sometimes life throws challenges your way that feel impossible to face alone. This is the story of my wife, the woman I love deeply, and how my world fell apart when I discovered her betrayal. It's difficult to put this into words, but perhaps by sharing my story, I'll find some sense of closure, or at least a way to make sense of what happened. We had been married for almost a decade. I thought we had a solid relationship. It wasn't perfect, but we managed to navigate life's highs and lows together. She was my everything, and I believed I was hers too. We had our routines, our laughter, and our shared responsibilities. Sure, things had shifted over the years, our intimacy had waned, and there were nights when I felt a certain distance between us, even as we lay side by side. But I assumed it was just part of married life, a natural progression as the years went on. I was so wrong. It started with small changes. She began staying up late, claiming she needed time to watch her favorite shows or just unwind. I didn't think much of it. I work long hours and often come home exhausted, going straight to bed. She'd tuck me in with a quick kiss, assuring me she'd join me later. But as time passed, it became more frequent, her staying up into the early hours while I slept. Still, I trusted her implicitly, never questioning her actions. Occasionally, I'd wake in the middle of the night to find her missing from our bed. When I'd call out, she'd reply that she was in the living room, on her phone, or watching TV. Again, I didn't think much of it. But over time, her behavior began to change in ways I couldn't ignore. She grew distant, guarded with her phone, and I noticed she'd receive texts at odd hours, always shielding the screen when she replied. I felt uneasy, but brushed it aside, unwilling to entertain the thought that anything might be wrong. Everything changed one night. I woke around 2 a.m., and as usual, she wasn't in bed. From the living room, I heard her faint voice. Curiosity got the better of me, so I quietly got up and walked toward the door. I didn't intend to eavesdrop, but what I heard made my heart sink. She was on the phone, speaking in a tone I hadn't heard in years, intimate, filled with desire. I couldn't make out the entire conversation, but the fragments I heard were enough. She was talking about meeting up with someone, expressing how much she wanted him. My stomach churned. I felt as though the ground had been ripped out from under me. I froze, unable to process what I was hearing. My wife, the woman I had built my life with, was talking to another man, not just talking but planning something deeply personal. I retreated to bed, unable to confront her. I didn't sleep that night. My mind raced with thoughts of betrayal, pain, and anger. In the days that followed, I tried to act as though nothing had changed, but the paranoia was impossible to suppress. I began watching her more closely, noticing things I had overlooked before, the way she smiled at her phone, the excuses to leave the house for errands or to visit friends. My suspicions grew, and one day I decided I needed answers. I set up a small camera in the living room to see what was happening while I slept. The footage confirmed my worst fears. My wife wasn't just talking to another man, she was calling a call boy, someone she had been seeing for months behind my back. Every night after I fell asleep, she would text him, and sometimes she even left to meet him. I was devastated. Watching the recordings felt like a punch to the gut, as though my entire world had crumbled. I couldn't hold it in any longer. One night, I confronted her. Overwhelmed with emotion, I demanded the truth. At first, she denied everything, accusing me of being paranoid and overreacting. But when I showed her the evidence, the texts, the videos, her facade broke. She confessed. She admitted she had been sneaking around for months, meeting this man while I slept peacefully. Thinking everything was fine, I asked her why. How could she do this to me? To us? Her response felt hollow. She claimed she didn't know, that she felt neglected, that the spark in our relationship had faded, and she sought something she thought I couldn't provide anymore. Her excuses did nothing to ease the pain. I had given her my all, yet she threw it away for fleeting moments with a stranger. The days that followed were the hardest of my life. Part of me wanted to forgive her, to try and rebuild what we had. But another part of me knew the damage was too great. The trust between us was gone. Every time I looked at her, all I could see was her betrayal. We tried talking, but it was futile. I knew deep down I couldn't move past this. Ultimately, I made the decision to leave. It was one of the hardest choices I've ever made because, despite everything, I still loved her. But I also knew I deserved better. Someone who respected me, someone who was honest and faithful. She apologized, begged for another chance, but it was too late. The damage was irreversible. Looking back, I feel a mix of emotions: anger, sadness, disappointment. I'll never understand how she could betray me so deeply. How she could lie to me day after day while sneaking off to see someone else. It's something I'll always carry with me, a wound that may never fully heal. But I'm trying to move forward. I'm learning to trust again, to heal. Life has a way of teaching you lessons, and this was one of the hardest I've ever faced. I've realized that no matter how much you love someone, they still have the power to hurt you in unimaginable ways. It's a painful truth, but one I've had to accept. Her betrayal left scars, but I refuse to let it define me. I don't know what the future holds, but I won't let this destroy who I am or what I believe in. I still believe in love. Somewhere out there, it exists. Maybe one day, I'll find it again. For now, I'm focused on myself, on healing, and on rebuilding my life from the ruins of her betrayal. This is where the story wraps up. Share your thoughts in the comments below. For more stories like this, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll talk to you soon. See you next time.